back in 2005. There is still a subsidy component still on kerosene, which is still going to affect us with the higher oil prices, but we have made that adjustment back in 2005. Right now, since we are going to be going into elections in 2009, obviously there are great difficulties in doing anything like that now. In a nutshell, the economic trend is that growth is picking up. Growth in the first half of 2007 was 6.3%, and the latest figure for the third quarter is showing 6.4%. Our target is actually 6.3% for this year. So, barring a major downturn in the fourth quarter, which we don't really expect, I think we're reasonably optimistic that we can reach the 6.3 target. And some of the growth of last year and into this year has been really the revival of consumption, continued robust growth in exports, and especially this year, signs of investment recovery. And this can be seen from the growth in the import of capital goods. Inflation, which was running at about 18% right after 16% right after we raised the fuel prices, has now come down and is stabilized at 6.6% by the end of last year, and this year it rose slightly to 6.9%. But the estimate for this year is still going to be about 6.5, 6.8, between 6.5 to 6.8. Part of the reason for the higher inflation rate, and I think this is experienced worldwide, really gone up. Have been to July, though I think in the copy of your slide it may have said that we will still reduce interest rates, but given the high oil prices and the fact that inflation, we need to really keep an eye on inflation. I think it's quite likely that Bank Indonesia will not reduce its interest rates this year anymore. We have to see next year what will be the inflation prospects. What about next year? I think next year the forecast is going to be around 6.8%. I hope this year has been good for investment compared to last year. This year's investment growth is 7% compared to 2.9% last year, so that's almost double. And if you look at approved investments, domestic and foreign, it's also more than double. So we hope that the realization of investment this year will lead to increased capacity for growth next year, whether it's exports or to service the domestic market. And export growth has also been still very robust, and the expectation, our projection is 6.8% growth for next year. Now, because of the higher oil prices, just in the last few weeks we've been having this major discussion as to, is it going to be 6.8? Do we have to make some downward revision? Basically, we know that the world economy is predicted to be growing at 0.5% lower than predicted before because of this higher oil prices, as well as the subprime crisis, the aftermath of the subprime crisis, which people say is not really, the after effect is not really, we haven't really seen the full effects of the subprime crisis, the effects, and so on and so forth. And world inflation has also been predicted to be 0.5% higher. So these are the downside risks globally that Indonesia and other countries are facing. So for Indonesia, it's going to affect our export growth, basically, and possibly investment, some of the realization of investment. Therefore, what do we do? What we are going to do is really push more the government stimulus, back to government stimulus as a source of economic growth, especially in infrastructure. So number one priority in government spending, all our budgets have been cut, including my ministry, all being pushed towards prioritizing the building of infrastructure. So hopefully this can, in a way, offset some of the downside risks globally, so that we can still grow at 6.8%, and hopefully this will alleviate the infrastructure bottlenecks that we know is one of the constraints Indonesia is facing. Balance of payments is still surplus, both in 2007 and 2008. 2007, exports Apart from oil, of course, all other commodities are booming. So we have palm oil, rubber, minerals, they're all growing, still continuing to grow. And at the same time, a lot of capital inflow.